met with Mr. Barazza and with Enrico many years ago. Now, all the way back in when we first exhibited at Salon Satellite. And then we've been talking to each other for many years. And then suddenly, last winter, I think it was, possibility occurred that we thought we had an excellent idea for Magis. And they thought it was an excellent idea for Magis. And now, 12 months later, the product is finished. So I think that I think it's pretty safe to say that we have never participated in a development that has been this quick, but also this precise, also this advanced at the same time.
Yes.
So it's like a very strange mixture of being advanced and quick. And to us, that's like the core of Magis in a way.
Yeah, it was like you said. It's like the right product for the right manufacturer, and it's like everything has been really smooth and exciting for us all the way.
I think what is especially interesting with Magis is that they're kind of not tied down by usual understanding of brand building. It's more about the project. How can the project be refined and at its best? And then the project is kind of moving the whole Magis thing.
It has to be something there which triggers you, and I think it's the same thing with good products. There's a certain undefined quality that people either love or hate.
We are Anders Neville, and today me and Torbjørn, the partners of this studio, are here in Oslo.
We were working with a sofa that were supposed to be very different from the existing sofas that we had already designed for Muto. We wanted to make a sofa that would offer something unique.
The outline adds to Scandinavian design by introducing a more continental feel, mixing it with more of the Scandinavian tradition. That's sort of what makes it new.
We changed the proportions and made the cushions slimmer. And suddenly it became a grand sofa. Even though it's very tight and very small, it's a grand sofa.
You could take out the first sketch and say, this was the idea. The product is actually identical. It was there in the first sketch. That happens from time to time. But in other ways, it just keeps evolving even after it's been launched.
You get a lot of sofa on a very small footprint. I think that's one of the unique strengths of the outline.
Eventually we were very inspired by trying to express the category in a new way, because like the gas-lifted bar stool is a very young category. It was introduced by Magis 1997 with the Bombo. And just looking into how the movement, the possibility for movement is expressed in the shape, so to speak. Two parts that are kind of balanced and that slides into each other. And then I think it was like important also to connect everything that is related to the body is connected in one continuous surface, so to speak. And the surface changes character when needed. It's hard where it's supposed to be hard. The feet, it's sensual where you touch it with your fingers on the release button, and it's soft on top where your ass needs it to be soft, basically. So it's all about this.
It's like you said earlier. It's a good explanation, I think, about how they build themselves, not inside the very strategic branding, what you call it, like way of thinking. The project builds Magis. It's not Magis who's like strategically decides what the project will be. So they still have a high degree of experimental context. I think everything works within that. And that's how we felt when we were working with the two. We are sort of pushed to really stay within the concepts when we try to industrialize it. That's been really nice for us.
Working and living in Scandinavia, and I guess the result is Scandinavian. But the story of the Oslo sofa is quite interesting because when we were making the first initial sketches, we were traveling a lot to Japan and to Tokyo. And I think you can see some inspiration from Japanese aesthetics. The whole process was basically about how to translate the identity of the sofa into another format without losing character and the identity.
It's actually quite small, but it has a lot of comfort. It has a tall back, which is very necessary for sitting at the table for a long time. Small size, big comfort.
When you look at it, it's more clearly a sculpted piece. It's in a way sculpted from the inside and out.
I think Scandinavian design is poetic rationality, sympathetic, but I think the word democratic is kind of more important than we think, because they sort of spring out of our way of living, and it's beautiful everyday objects. The Oslo sideshare expresses poetic rationality.
And I'm here today at the Stockholm Furniture Fair, sitting in our sofa outline for Muto. And the outline series is very inspired by architecture, with this kind of shifts between the base and the sides and the legs. Also is a take on the archetypical Danish mid-century boxy sofa. I think when you work with sofas, you try to extend it into a family. You always reach some sort of point where the three-seater becomes an extended version of the two-seater, or the one-seater becomes a too-short version of the three-seater, and so on and so on. Making a sofa, you always feel like there's an original size that fits with the proportions, and then everything else is like not as good. The surprising thing, I think, with outline is that the three-seater looks like the original sofa. High back works very well, and even the super small studio sofa, which is only like 130 by 65 centimeters, feels like a full-blown sofa, so to speak. It's always very hard to know why is something successful. But I think it's a little bit like with people, why do you fall in love? Why are somebody beautiful? And why is somebody ugly? There is something undefined, but there is something about the slim proportions of the base that makes the sofa very generous in the gesture, no matter how big the sofa is. Even the small sofa feels kind of generous. Muto is a young company, and we were approached by two Danish guys, Peter and Christian, and they had this kind of vision on making a brand, a designer-driven brand, and a vision on, you know, in what segment of the market they wanted to be. So we just started out working with them, and they didn't even have a brand name. They were just like, we had the name Peter Bonnen on a binder in the studio for like 6 months or 8 months before they actually found the name Muto. So it's been a very long and good collaboration on our part with a product like Oslo. We have even been able to be integral in shaping the DNA of the brand, so to speak. For me, I feel like it could only have been made by Muto, and it could only have been made by Andersen Wold. And this is always the best thing. It's almost like a representation of the logo and of the values of Muto, with this kind of rounded, friendly softness. To make transportation super compact, so as not to ship air half a way around the globe. So, I mean, these different responsibilities has to be weighted in different ways when you work with different customers, and so it's a very flexible and elastic term. I cannot give you a good definition on creativity. Sorry, it's. I think it's just being a little bit open and fast, being receptive, and so you are in a process of solving different things, or not necessarily solving things, but also making things, solving problems, or making beautiful stuff, and it's not necessarily a contradiction. So I think it's important to just be open and in progress and in movement, and then also maybe see yourself as also almost like a also mirroring everything which is going on at the same time in all levels of culture and society. I don't know. I don't really know. We just try to, you know, to create stuff. That's what we do. Well, Salone for me is very, very important. This is I've been here every year since year 2000. So this is like the big annual design event for me. And also the first time I went to Milan, I was very young and still doing my education. So it's been very formative, both, you know, what's going on here, but also the way the brands present their work, and Milan as a total, and also like as an ambition.
We wanted In-Seater to be a sofa that could scale up and down in size in a good way, so it would feel like a really nice two-seater, but it could also grow to be a super big sofa landscape. Trying to implement some design features that would unify the modules, so you wouldn't read as like singular modules put together.
Using the steel bar is trying to achieve a more unified expression. We wanted to make a sofa that people can hang out in for a long time. I think the in-seater sofa gives you a grand comfort.
Today I'm sitting down on the Tibu bar stool for Magis, and this is our first collaboration together with Magis. For this particular project, we presented an idea that was floating in our office to Mr. Perazza and to Enrico, and luckily in that very same meeting we also started to discuss ways of production. We started the development right away, basically. Working with the height adjustable gas lifted bar stool for Magis was very interesting, because this is in a way a category which belongs to Magis. It was introduced with the Bombo by Giovannone back in 1998, I think. So it's a very new and fresh category. So the shape of the stool is very motivated by this possibility of adjusting the height. So instead of having like a regular structure with a seat on top and then a footrest, it's more like a unified piece where you have two parts in a way. It's the top part has a unified flow of surface, which is then the bottom part is sliding into it. So I think the whole possibility of height adjustment is very inherent in the product. And then of course color and texture has been a very important part of the product as well. So this change between the fabric and this super resilient scratch proof coating has been very key to the project. And then to try to match the color experience you have from a textile surface and a coated surface.
The image that springs to mind with the Yoko is a delicate bubble, momentarily resting on the light source. It is conceptual and ethereal, simple, but at the same time sophisticated.
In working with the Yoko lamp, we've been breaking with the archetypical form of a traditional table lamp. Instead of a light source and a shade held up by a structure, we have imagined a transparent piece resting on an illuminated body. So the lamp is made up of two intersecting volumes, two light shapes, balancing beauty and technology. Blow molding technique and the use of polymethyl methacrylate have made it possible to create an object with appeal and strong personality.
With Yoko, we wanted to create a spontaneous and immediate emotion, a charming and well-balanced form of transparencies, which fill the environment with a northern white light that creates a suffused and vibrant atmosphere.
The name Yoko is made up from the assonance of two similar syllables.
We like the name because it reflects the dialogue between the two intersecting volumes that form the lamp.
Color is also an important part of the personality.
We have chosen 3 delicate tones, which characterizes the soft transparencies and the lightness.
The tint of the transparent upper body shines off a pale hue when the lamp is illuminated.
White light spreads from the lower body and creates a suffused and vibrant atmosphere.
My name is Torbjørn Andersen, and I'm running a design studio called Andersen & Vold, together with my partner Espen Wold out of Oslo in Norway. So right now I'm sitting on a project for Magis called Tibu, and it's evidently a bar stool. And it's a height adjustable bar stool, so it's gas lifted. And for us to do this kind of category for Magis was a great honor and a big opportunity, because in a way this is a category that belongs to Magis. They were introducing the gas lifted height adjustable bar stool with the Bombo in 1998. So for this reason it was interesting for us to revisit the category. So I would say that shape and the product itself is very motivated by the possibility for height adjustment. So basically it's divided in 2 parts. You have a top part which has this kind of continuous flowing surface that changes properties from the textured surface and to the more to the coated surfaces. So you have one top part and you have a bottom part, and they're kind of sliding into each other. So for us, whole language of the chair is about this possibility for movement. We would never have made this kind of shape for a fixed height bar stool. For us it would make no sense. So I think to us, working with color was a very essential part of the project, because we didn't want it to be a seat on top of a structure with a footrest. We wanted it to be a more unified piece in a way. So and the whole part of working with color was very interesting, because the perception of a textured surface is very different from a smooth coated surface. So first we picked a palette from the Kvadrat collection called Steel Cut, And then we tried to match this color with first the RAL colors, then that didn't work, so we swapped to NCS, and that didn't work either. So in the end, there was a local car painter nearby the headquarters of Magis that mixed the colors by hand to reach the right kind of color perception between the coating and the textile, and that became the kind of reference swatches for the whole production of the coating. So I think this is also it's a good story about how unwilling Magis is to compromise on the design and the idea.
We are Andersen & Vold. We are a design studio based here in Oslo in Norway. Do mainly domestic design and with a special emphasis on furniture and textile. I think what was interesting in working with Nofred is that it feels much freer in a way to work in a sculptural fashion when you work for kids.
And I also like the kids. The kids have a very specific attention to detail, I think.
A good object for children is something that you could keep around even after the kids are grown up. And I think that's for sure an element that we would like to put into our objects for Nofred. The first two pieces that we've designed with Nofred is a mirror and a wall hook. And for the mirror, it's almost like a portal. We call it the portal mirror because it's almost like a doorway with a small shelf at the bottom. The open gesture of the frame is both, and the kind of the thick shelf at the bottom makes it either a starting point for kids play or a place to exhibit your favorite items, but the gesture also turns the reflecting surface into some sort of focal point. I could easily use this mirror myself in my hallway or
a mirror that is placed much further down on the wall.
Exactly.
It's like it's adapted to the kid. It could be really nice. Yeah.
Quite low on the wall outside of the children's room.
Yeah.
Integrates the child also in like everyday life.
It could easily be in the bathroom as well, and then it could be natural to have.
So this is our version of the ornamental wall hook, and we've called it wall bug because it's almost like a little bit of an insect. First and foremost, I think it's nice that it has a certain level of complexity, so it functions as a mediator of imagination, so to speak.
I think the ornamental aspect was quite important because I remember we had a lot of sketches doing this, and we did some products that were much more conventional, hooks or like conventional pegs, and they sort of just they get lost. It will be fun to see how kids would use it, but I think it will be used in a lot of different ways. Several things that made us want to work for Nofred. It's like the timing was quite good, I think. We both have kids, and just recently. And
one thing that we should be aware of in the work to follow with Nofred is to, when we work with things, maybe sit on the floor and have this kind of a different angle to objects.
My childhood was basically outdoors.
You were just nude, roaming the forest.
No, but it's like just outside.